I'm Avery Matthews.
And I'm Jamal Tara Kelly.
And we're with the DC Report.
We're staying here today at Oak Grove High School for the Davidson County GOP Convention. And we're getting ready to interview Davidson County Commissioner Fred McClure.
We hope that after watching this video, you'll like our Facebook page, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So join us. We'll see you inside.
Fred, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, Fred McClure. I'm County Commissioner, been a County Commissioner since 1994, with the exception of 2 years sabbatical that the people gave me.
All right. So what led you to want to become a county commissioner?
Back in 1994, there had not been any schools built in this county for years, and most of the schools were in bad shape. None of them were connected to sewer, and I think that education and our kids are the future, and I want to have a part in it and do something about it.
As a commissioner, what vote or decision do you regret the most, if there is one? And what would you say is your greatest accomplishment so far as a commissioner?
I don't know that it's a regret as much as it is looking back and seeing something that we could have done that we didn't do, and that is we could have done a better job with the courthouse renovation that we had a few years ago when we built the parking deck. If we had done a better job, if we had included some more stuff, we wouldn't be looking at as much today. It's the greatest accomplishments. Also in education, we built 6 or 7 schools, connected all of them to sewer. We've contributed to Davidson County Community College and their transportation and nursing program for buildings that they had. So far as government is concerned, performance-based budgeting, which has saved millions of dollars in our budget by allowing departments to operate to a particular budget, and then whenever they do a better job, they get to keep the money and use it in their department, not frivolously. They still have to report, but that's been one of the biggest things. We were the first county to have payment of taxes over the internet, and we had a $147,000 grant that got us 4 vehicles and a natural gas station here in the county. So all of those, and there's some more, but I mean, I've been here a long time.
That's right. This next question, I'm sure you've heard asked a couple of times on social media. So, in 2015, you voted against the citizens of Davidson County to vote having the ability to buy alcohol throughout the county. Ultimately, the measure passed, but what was your reasoning for voting no?
I'm not against allowing the people to vote. I have done that on 2 or 3 different occasions, and the commissioner has, the quarter-cent sales tax was one, the bond referendum was one that we had for the schools. That was another thing, $73 million bond that we did with no increase in taxes. And I guess, you know, the no increase in taxes over the years is a result of planning. But so far as that particular issue, I read everything I could get on that. I try to do that with all of the issues that I face. One of the biggest things is teenage alcohol. And they say that easier access to alcohol results in teens drinking earlier. And the earlier a teen drinks, the more chance there is of them becoming an alcoholic. The other thing is only 15 to 20% of the registered voters in this county vote. So when you're talking about the people of the county and you're elected by the people of the county to do what you think is correct, you're not just speaking to the 20%, you're speaking to 167,000 people. And I had all kinds of calls both ways. But ultimately, it was because of the teenage drinking that I made a decision that I made. I did not think it was a good idea. If you go in a convenience store today, you can get, what is it, Mike's Lemonade, and that has just as much alcohol in it as some of the wine products. And kids go in there and buy the lemonade. We have a tremendous problem with alcoholism in this world. Alcoholism costs more money than any other substance abuse. Not death, money. So That was just a personal decision. Once the decision was made on the board, I go along with whatever the board says. But that's the reason there's 7 commissioners instead of 1. And should we put the courthouse before the people and let them decide whether to build a courthouse? You know, or should we put the communication system that we spent millions of dollars on? Should we have said that, turned it over to the people to vote on to see whether or not we have a communication system? The commissioners are elected. We're representatives of the people. We're supposed to make decisions. And not every decision I make is going to sit well with everybody, just like not every decision that any of the other commissioners make will sit well with everybody. But I'm comfortable with what I did because I researched it and I had good solid reasons for going that way.
I am curious to know, what do you think about people who use social media to, especially for these past issues, like something in 2015, to use that as like to attack you? Do you think there's a reason that people use stuff like that, especially like a decision that's already been made, like the alcohol vote?
The only thing I can say is they can't find anything current to be critical of. I spoke of a 2-year sabbatical. That was when I lobbied hard for us to recognize the Martin Luther King holiday. And we did, and I lost the next election. And I was told I was going to lose the next election. But whenever I start making decisions based on whether or not I'll be reelected, that's time for me to get out. I try to make decisions based on what's best for the county, and I try to do as much research as I can, which is something that the average person on the street does not have the ability to do. I want to be transparent. I'm probably the commissioner that's on Facebook and the rest of them more than anybody else. I wear the commissioner's badge every day. And the reason I do that is so somebody at the cash register or somebody as a waitress or whoever can know who their commissioners are. And if they've got a question, they can stop me and ask me, and I think that's important.
What are your thoughts on the opioid epidemic in Davidson County, and what progress is being made to combat this epidemic?
When I was president of the NCACC, my initiative was the opiate crisis. And we sent packages out and hand-delivered packages to each one of the counties to set up a stakeholders meeting, the first one was held in Davidson County. We had 70-something people come from schools, hospitals, business leaders, and out of that has come several different things. There is a Facebook page now for substance abuse that I think is good, but it's not anything that particularly does anything. We're working with our health department on some initiatives to try to get further involved in the opiates. We have, as a county, joined in a suit against the big pharma companies to recover some of the costs that it has cost us through the years. It's not just opiates, it's all kinds of drugs, substance abuse. One of the things that we did, I was able to do by being on Cardinal Innovations Board, was to get Daymark, a facility here, 24-bed crisis facility in our county, which there's not very many in very many counties, and it didn't cost the county any dollars. Daymark, Cardinal Innovations paid for that, and that was big, and it helps.
As we all know, the Windstream building has been a point of contention in this county for the past 2 years. Just tell me where you're at on that issue today.
Well, it's not an issue today because they sold it. The plan was and has been for a number of years to put the clerk of court in that building. That's the reason really that the building was purchased. And we were set on go to do that. 7 commissioners voted unanimously to put the clerk in that building. Whenever they got down to the dollars, it cost them a little bit more money. It went from about $4 million to about $7 million. And when it did that, some thought it was a good idea to look at putting the clerk in a courthouse facility because the sheriff had vacated so much. Well, when they started looking at that, that was simply not able to do just to put the clerk over there. You had to rebuild the court, and we had not planned on that. That's $29 million that dropped on us this year that we have had no plan for. And I just don't like to do business that way. My thoughts were we put the clerk in the Windstream building like we had voted to do. That was $7 million, and we wouldn't be facing this $29 million hole, which is going to hurt us for a couple of years. In about 2002, 2004, there's going to be a considerable amount of money coming into this county. And I don't want to raise taxes when I know that that's going to happen. We've got debt coming off. We've got eggers coming to fruit, and it's going to provide us with about $500,000 a year in taxes. That's a whole lot of houses that you don't have to collect taxes from. But there will be a lot more money than there is today. That's what planning is all about. And the reason we've been able to do what we've done and maintain the 54% tax rate for so long is that we plan new ventures when debt falls off. We don't jump into stuff without planning, or we haven't in the past. This year is different. We're still not going to have to raise taxes. I don't believe if we will do a good job in our budget and not add a whole bunch of stuff that everybody seems to want, but we'll be okay.
Now, I know you, along with Commissioner Zach Krotz, voted against selling the Windstream building to the city of Lexington. What was your reasoning in that vote?
As I said, I don't know about Jack, but I can tell you that I thought the clerk ought to be in that building. And I thought we ought to go ahead and spend the $7 million that was budgeted and put the clerk over there and wait until we could do something on the courthouse and jail together.
Okay.
You've accomplished so much in your career as a commissioner. Do you plan to seek re-election?
I do,
what are your goals?
as long as God gives me the health and the desire to do it. I enjoy being a commissioner. It's an honor for me to serve the people of this county, and I'm accountable to them, all of the people, all 167,000, not the ones that fill up our room up there. But and that's what a lot of commissioners in the past, and I'm not going to say present, but have failed to realize that an overwhelming crowd in the governmental center does not mean an overwhelming approval in the community.
Do you still feel as passionate as you did in 1994?
It's a long way for me to remember way back then. But yeah, it has grown, I think, even more so because I know more to be passionate about, and I know more what the county needs and how to go about achieving it than I did at 94. At 94, I was like a fly fisherman with a new set of waders. You don't know how deep to go in the water, and you know it's been a good trip for me. Even the 2-year sabbatical was good because God always knows. That's the year that my wife passed with lung cancer, and I would have been very much distracted during that period of time. So everything works out for a reason.
What is your vision for the future of Davidson County?
Well, we've accomplished so much. We've got the schools. We need some work on the city schools, both Thomasville and Lexington, and we're working on that. There's a bond that may come to be in the state that will give us some money for capital. We still have a lot of roofs and a lot of repairs to the school system that we have. So far as vision beyond it, we've got our communications where it needs to be now. We fought with that for 10 years to try to get that done, and now it's accomplished. But and so that's a good thing. I want to see Davidson County. Everybody talks about Davidson County being a destination county. It may be, but it's hard for me to believe that it can be with Winston-Salem and Charlotte and High Point. All of the surrounding places are building things that are destinations. Our signature, I think, is the town that everybody wants to visit, and because it reminds them of where they grew up. It reminds them of a quality of life that they don't have in some of these other places. And there's a balance between the quality of life and development. But we need more development. We've got an industrial park out there that needs to be completed. We ought to use the money that we get from that to get another industrial park and get more businesses in here to take the pressure off of the individual property owners. Right now, if you figure the per capita tax for each one of the people in our counties, it's the lowest of any county our size. So we have done a good job in the past of protecting our citizens from unnecessary tax increases. And tax increases hurt the economy, and I just don't like to go that direction.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to the citizens of Davidson County?
Sure, I would appreciate your support. You have supported me in the past. I've been very active in seniors and veterans, and I want to stay active in both of those. I was the first person from Davidson County to ever be president of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, and that brought a lot of recognition to Davidson County, and I want to continue to do that. I want to continue to make Davidson County the best county in this state, not necessarily the busiest, but the best.
Well, Commissioner McClure, we appreciate you taking the time out to do this interview.
Especially on the morning of the Davidson County GOP convention.
Yeah, well,
right.
thank you very much. At least it wasn't pouring down rain.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much, Mr. McClure.
For those watching at home, we hope you'll continue to tune in to the DC Report as we have more content coming your way.